there's this idea that compassion or peace is passive, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's very tough. Yeah. So, I mean, just going back to my dad for a moment, Martin Luther, he was campaigning in Indianapolis in Indiana in the 1968 primary, Democratic primary, and he was told that Dr. King had been shot and then killed. And John Lewis had organized this rally in the largest Black neighborhood of Indianapolis. And Daddy was going to go speak at that rally. And the mayor of Indianapolis said, you can't go because it's too dangerous. And cities across the country are on fire. And John Lewis said, you need to come, and Daddy went. And he gave that extraordinary speech.
Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort. In this difficult day, in this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in.
The next day, he made one more campaign stop, and he went to Cleveland. And he did that because the headlines were all these white city fathers across the country saying, now we owe the Black community nothing because they've they've set the cities on fire. And Daddy wanted to counter that argument. And so he went to this part of white power. And he said, he talked about systemic racism. And he said, there's a more powerful force than a shot in the night, a more deadly force than a shot in the night. And that is sending a kid to school without books, or demanding that a father provide for their family and not give them a job that pays a decent wage, systemic. And then he flew home to Virginia. And I remember so well, all of us, all of the kids and my mother were sitting in the den of our house watching this big television set, and we were watching Washington, D.C. in flames. And my father came down the stairs, and he had shorts on and t-shirt. He was going to play football with us, and he watched for a few moments, and he turned around and walked back upstairs, and then he walked out the door. And 15 minutes later, there we were all watching Washington in flames, and there he was in the middle of the flames, trying to stop the violence. And I mean, to me, that is compassion. That is leadership. That is what all of us need to do. We need to stop sitting watching television, saying how terrible this is. And we have to run into the flames. Today is September 11th. Remember those firefighters when everybody else was fleeing the buildings and they were running into the flames. To save us, to save our country. We all have a role to play. And we need to run into those flames of anger and rage and violence and dispute with one another and find ways to say, I disagree with you, but I love you. And we can have both of those things at once. We can love one another and completely disagree.